All right, let's be honest. Have you ever just lost it? You know, a tiny little thing happens and suddenly you're seeing red, a massive outburst, and then later you're just left thinking, wow, where did that come from? Why did I lose control like that? We've all been there. It's a totally universal human experience.
So what is really going on inside your mind and body when you lose your cool? Well, today we're going to pull that moment apart. We're going to follow the entire chain reaction. It's like a set of dominoes that takes one single thought and snowballs it into full-blown rage. Let's trace it domino by domino and see what's really happening under the hood. Okay, so here's the first big surprise. The first domino to fall, it's not the thing that happened. You know, the person cutting off in traffic. Nope, it's your interpretation of that thing. This is the absolute core of what's called cognitive appraisal theory. It basically says our emotions don't just happen to us, we're actually the ones creating them with our own little mental judgment calls.
So your mind runs this lightning-fast two-step check. Step one is the primary appraisal. It's basically asking, okay, does this even matter to me? Is this a threat to my goals? If the answer is yes, then bam, it's on the emotional radar. Then instantly, you're on to step two, the secondary appraisal. Right, what can I do about this? And, maybe most importantly, whose fault is this? And it's the answers to those questions that decide if you're going to feel angry, or sad, or maybe scared.
And when it comes to anger, the recipe is super specific. You need a few key ingredients. First, a blocked goal. You're frustrated, you're trying to get somewhere, and you can't. Next, you have to blame someone else. This is huge, because if you blame yourself, that's guilt. If you blame the universe, that's more like sadness. For anger, you need a villain. Then, you need a sense that this whole thing is totally unfair, a real injustice. And here's the kicker. You have to feel like you have the power to confront it, to fight back. That's what gives anger that intense, push-forward energy.
But, you know, this whole mental checklist thing doesn't just happen in a vacuum. There's something else going on. Our bodies, they're carrying around the echoes of past stress. And that stress can act like hidden fuel, just waiting for a spark to start a brand new fire.
And this brings us to something called excitation transfer theory. Think of it like this. The physical arousal from stress, that adrenaline rush, it fades really, really slowly. Your mind might have totally moved on, but your body is still humming with all this leftover energy. So if a new frustrating thing happens before that energy has faded away, all that leftover buzz gets transferred and it just supercharges your reaction to the new thing.
Let's walk through a perfect example. So it's 5:30 p.m. You get cut off in some nasty traffic and boom, your body is just flooded with adrenaline. 10 minutes later, you're home. You think you're over it, right? Your mind has moved on, but your body is still physically amped up. It's still carrying that charge. And then someone at home makes some tiny, innocent comment. What happens? Your brain takes all that leftover high-octane road rage fuel and blames it entirely on that small comment, and the result is a totally disproportionate, explosive outburst.
So, let's recap. We have a thought, an appraisal, that's met a body that's already primed and ready for a fight. Now the action moves deep inside the brain, into its most ancient wiring. This is where a battle between reason and raw emotion is about to kick off.
Okay, inside your brain, we've got three main characters in this drama. First up is the amygdala. Think of it as the brain's hypervigilant security guard, always scanning for trouble and ready to sound the alarm. Then you've got the prefrontal cortex. This is the cool, calm executive, the CEO who's supposed to look at the facts and hit the brakes. And finally, the hypothalamus. That's the command center that launches the body's entire stress response if that alarm starts blaring.
Now, information about a potential threat takes two different roads in your brain. There's the low road, which is basically an information superhighway. It's a crazy fast shortcut that goes straight to the emotional amygdala. It's all about a quick, dirty, react now, ask questions later response. Then there's the high road. This one's the scenic route. It's slower because it sends the information up to the rational prefrontal cortex for some careful analysis first. This is the path that gives you a more thoughtful, measured reaction.
So what happens when that perceived threat feels big enough? Well, the amygdala's alarm gets so loud, so frantic, that it basically cuts the phone line to the rational brain. This is what psychologist Daniel Goleman famously called the amygdala hijack. It's that neurological tipping point where we completely lose control. The emotional brain just hijacks the system and absolutely stops listening to reason.
All right, so the amygdala has hijacked the plane. It's in charge now. So what does it do? It signals the command center, the hypothalamus, to put the entire body on red alert. It's time to mobilize for war. This is the famous fight or flight response in all its glory. And just like that, your body is preparing for a physical fight that, let's be real, almost never actually happens in modern life. Your heart starts pounding, blood pressure skyrockets, your breathing gets fast and deep, your muscles get super tense, totally primed for action, your senses even sharpen up, your liver just dumps sugar into your bloodstream for a quick energy boost, and everything that's not essential for a brawl, like digestion, gets shut down. All systems are go for battle.
And here's where things get really interesting, kind of tricky. This full-body red alert creates a powerful feedback loop. Your brain feels your heart racing, it feels your muscles tightening up, and it takes all that physical chaos as proof. It says, see, this is a huge deal. You are absolutely right to be this angry. So your body's reaction actually ends up fueling the fire in your brain, making it even harder to calm down.
Okay, so this whole cascade sounds pretty automatic, right? Almost unstoppable. But here's the good news. It's not. The real key to managing anger is learning how to strengthen our brain's executive brake, that prefrontal cortex, and consciously stepping in to interrupt this domino effect.
So how do we do that? Well, neuroscientist Matthew Lieberman found something fascinating. He discovered that the simple act of putting your feelings into words, what he calls affect labeling, actually helps calm down the amygdala's freakout. Just thinking or saying, I am feeling angry right now, shifts activity to your rational prefrontal cortex. It's literally like you have to name it to tame it.
So, let's put this together into a practical toolkit you can actually use. Number 1, cognitive reappraisal. You have to consciously change the story you're telling yourself. Maybe that driver who cut you off wasn't a jerk. Maybe they were rushing to the hospital. That simple switch can short-circuit the whole anger recipe. Number 2, affect labeling. We just talked about this. Just name the emotion to get that rational brain back online. And number 3, mindfulness and breathing. Taking slow, deep breaths literally activates your body's rest and digest system. It's the physiological opposite of fight or flight. It's a way to manually calm the physical storm.
So there you have it. From one single thought, to a body already loaded with fuel, to a full-on brain hijack and a body ready for war, losing control isn't some mysterious character flaw. It's a predictable, understandable process. It's a cascade. And the best part is, once you understand the process, you gain the power to actually step in and change it.
And that's what this all comes down to, right? This knowledge completely transforms us. We go from being passive victims of our emotions to being active architects of our own responses. It gives us a roadmap. And the goal isn't to eliminate anger, it's a useful emotion, but to learn how to channel its incredible energy in a more constructive way. So the final question is, if you can map the cascade, can you choose a different destination? Thank you for joining us.